What's going on, YouTube? I just completed the Google hiring assessment about an hour ago. This is my second interview process at Google, and my first one was back in 2019, where the Google hiring assessment wasn't available. And I'm actually learning that there's not too much content available to candidates to understand what the assessment is about. So I'm going to make this video to go over that in detail. So the Google hiring assessment is made to evaluate the tendencies and behaviors of candidates based off of how they currently act in the workplace today. There are questions that I've divided into 7 different topics. And these are not formal. This is just like the trends that I've noticed after completing the assessment. I wanted to do as quickly as possible. So the first topic, integrity. It includes statements such as, I do what is right when nobody is watching. And other statements such as, I complete tasks while following my company's policies. Questions like these should be answered as a strongly agree, like I'd hope, but they're asking the questions multiple different ways. So for example, that first question, I do what is right when nobody is watching. Another way to ask the same exact question or present the same exact statement is to say, when nobody is watching, I do what is right. And if you respond to the first one as strongly agree, and then respond to the next one as neutral, there may be an inconsistency that could be flagged negatively. All right, for the second topic, ethics. This is different from integrity because I consider integrity to be more of an internal honesty, whereas ethics is more external. So this covers things such as reporting when others are not following guidelines, and also just holding others accountable. So the first one is, I hold others accountable to follow company policy. The second statement is, if I notice someone conducting unethical behavior, I call it out. Now, this is a bit of a gray area for me because obviously, like, if you notice something wrong, you should call it out. But in the same vein, they'll ask questions more about, are you a person that makes sure others are following the rules? And I think that's more, that's more unnecessary. So you shouldn't be the person walking around your workplace with the handbook saying like, hey, you should be logging in as of so-and-so a time. I think that there's a gray area and a line to not be crossed to make sure that you're following the rules, but also not being overbearing to make sure that others are also following the same policies. All right, the third topic is, where'd it go? Oh, the third topic is cross-team collaboration. And a sample of this is, I facilitate collaboration across interdisciplinary teams. Another one is, I bring people together for chances to collaborate. And again, this is another one of those gray areas, and it's very much personality based. Me personally, I always collaborate if I have like a problem, but I don't go out of my way to make sure that other teams are collaborating with each other for new initiatives, for example. Like, I won't host a brain trust between 2 different teams just for the sake of hosting it. Usually it's to solve a problem or to make sure that things are moving in the right direction with the people that need to be involved. So this is 100% subjective. The fourth one is responsible autonomy, or you could just categorize this as autonomy. And this is your ability to work on your own without external influence from the team. So some of these statements are, I am comfortable with ambiguous tasks. Another one is, I can complete difficult tasks on my own. And again, both of these should be a strongly agree, but it is subjective to each individual person. Some people need more help than others. But if I were to guess, I would think that Google's looking for people that are able to work on their own on very complicated, not clearly defined tasks without much assistance from other teammates. And you should know when you should reach for help to get unblocked. But at the same time, you shouldn't be dependent on others to complete difficult tasks. Number 5 is problem-solving skills. And this is not necessarily just your ability to solve problems, but how do you solve problems? So one of the statements that are presented is, it is difficult to solve a problem without knowing the root cause. And the second one is, identify the cause of a problem before solving it. And this is a perfect example of how they're asking the same question 2 different ways, or presenting the same statement 2 different ways. The first one is difficult to solve a problem without knowing the root cause is the same as I identify the cause of a problem before solving it, because you're identifying the root cause, and they're just looking for inconsistency there. And I think that if I had to guess, you should be identifying the root cause of a problem, no matter your discipline, before moving forward. But one of the gray areas of these types of statements was, if the root cause of a problem has not been identified, it is hard to solve it. And I think that for me is more of a neutral. And I say that because You don't necessarily have to know the root. You shouldn't be blocked by resolving an issue if you can't identify the root cause. You should work on how to get to the root cause. And if you can't identify the root cause in a timely manner, then try to figure out how you can stop the bleeding, for lack of better terminology. The next one is organizational skills. And this one is more about creating and establishing structure in your work environment. So one of the statements that are presented is, I create structure at work. Very straightforward. The other one is, people come to me to create structure. For the first one, I do agree. Like, you should have structure in how you complete your work and problems that you have to prioritize. I think that there should be structure there. But in the second one, people come to me to create structure. I don't think that I'm a person, personally, I'm not a person that people would come to ask like how to structure their day or how to structure a certain problem because of my organizational skills. That's just something that I do for myself. The seventh and final topic is reliability. And the one that I highlighted is, I help others when they come to me for assistance. And again, this should be a strongly agree, but again, I don't know if people are comfortable with helping others if they're not necessarily comfortable in their own discipline. So just answer honestly. That's the theme of this entire assessment, is just to answer honestly based off of how you currently act at work. And be careful about answering based off of how you think they want you to answer, because it will be flushed out. The way that they're asking these questions is pretty intense. I think I've counted about 5 to 10 variations of each question type. At least each core question. So for example, that first one, I do what is right when nobody is watching. I must have answered that question about 7 different times. Be consistent and just focus on how you currently work. And if you're fit, you'll get a response in 1 to 2 days. And if you're not, then you probably won't. All right, to close this out, the Google hiring assessment, again, is a way to evaluate the tendencies and behaviors of candidates in the workplace. And it is something that is required from all candidates. So regardless of whether or not you're applying to a technical role, it's something that you will have to complete. All right, so this is the first of, I think, 5 or so steps in the interview process. If I pass the Google hiring assessment that I just completed, I'll know within the next 1 to 2 days. And I think the next steps are to complete a technical screening, which is a 45-minute technical interview with an engineer to go over a coding problem, probably regarding data structures and algorithms. And then if I'm approved for that, I have a soft team match where basically they take my background and they try to identify a team that will be willing to take me on if I pass through the formal interview loop. Then the next step is to go through the formal interview loop, which is one jam-packed interview day consisting of 4 to 5 separate interviews covering data structures and algorithms, systems design, and overall compatibility with Google. And I've done this once before, back in 2019, but this time around, I believe I am a lot more skilled, so we'll see how this goes. I'll be sharing my experience interviewing at Google from start to finish, and after that, I'm just going to go talk about the front lines of being a self-taught software engineer in tech. So welcome to Self-Taught in Tech, and I'll see you in the next one.